So now what we're going to do is, today what we'll do is we'll take off from Fujairah and we'll go direct to Despa over here. Now we'll go to Despa using the GPS and we will hold using the GPS as well. But this technique you can use it for basically VOR holdings, GPS holdings, whatever you want. So if you take a look, Despa is a standard hold. So this is the fix and right hand hold. Now make sure that you don't get confused between Despa and this. This is not the holding fix. The holding fix is Despa. This 16.0, the fix over here, is actually the end of the outbound leg. Now sometimes the outbound leg, for example, if you take a look at this, there is no end specified. So basically it's guaranteed terrain clearance with an inbound leg of 1 minute. Over here you can go outbound until 16 miles. You don't necessarily have to limit your outbound for 1 minute or make your inbound 1 minute. That's what it basically means. So what we'll do today is we'll just take off from Fujairah. We'll just go direct to Despa using the GPS. And yeah, what I'll do is I'll just show you how to determine the holding pattern entry. And what we'll do is maybe we'll just even fly random headings and yeah, I'll probably move you here somewhere and take you to Despa, and we'll see different types of entry patterns into a holding fix in this case. So okay, so that's us in Fujairah. I've just turned on the autopilot actually, and yeah, basically okay, as again like before, the speeds just disregard, because obviously those speeds are not realistic. We are going to be redlining the thing, but we are basically on the runway in Fujairah. On runway 11, and if you take a look, actually the wrong frequency is set here, so I'm just going to change that to 113.8. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically heading mode is activated over here, and I will increase the power here, and yeah, after takeoff it's just going to maintain. Hopefully this works this time. Let's see. There you go, that works perfect. So what we're going to do is we've just taken off from Fujairah. As I said again, disregard the airspeeds. So I'll tell you what, I'll just set Despa manually using the GPS. I'll push direct to and then twist. You see the cursor is already flashing over here. So I'll just push the small knob and set. Obviously in the airplane you'll have to turn it. So oops, one too many. D, scroll, use the big knob to scroll. E, big knob again, small knob. P, Q, R, S, big knob to the right to go to the next, to move the cursor to the right. M, N, O, P, Despa. You see Despa is already here. Enter, enter. Okay, now the CDI is actually set to the VOR, so we're going to change that, and we will put it as the GPS. So now I'm just going to fly this in the heading mode actually, and you can see we have about 10.3 miles to Despa. Now going to Despa, actually tell you what, just to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to push direct to enter again, so that it centers the needle instead of having to intercept the thing again. So that's basically it. You see the airplane is leveling off automatically at 3,000 feet. Like I said, this is on autopilot. I'm not actually hand flying it. This is basically purely for procedural purposes. Now remember that when this is on the GPS mode, if you're tracking direct to, no matter how much you try, you cannot turn that course knob. You see I'm pushing this, I'm trying to turn the small knob to the right, but it does not move. If you want to move it, basically you'll have to push the OBS mode. So it will just, for the lack of a better word, of course this is not the correct term, but basically it will make Despa behave like a VOR. If you take a look, GPS, it says en route. There's 3 modes. One is en route, one is terminal, one is approach, but of course it'll say LNAV, VNAV, etc. En route mode, basically what it means is 2 dots, full scale deflection is 2 nautical miles. 1 dot is 1 nautical mile. In the terminal mode, full scale deflection of 2 dots is 1 nautical mile. So 1 dot will be half a mile. And in the approach mode, it will say either APR or LNAV or whatever. And 1 dot, full scale deflection is going to be 0.3. So it is super sensitive. So this is something that we'll keep in mind when we are doing RNAV approaches. Tell you what, I'll just slow this down a little bit so that just to make it a little bit more realistic, we've got about 4.8 miles to DESPA. Now going back to the chart again, you can take a look that the DESPA inbound track is 230. So what we want to do is, let's say it's a standard hold. So it's 230 is over here. You see where 230 is? So that is 240. So the second big line is going to be 230. So imagine 230. So like I told you, for a standard hold, 70 degrees to the left of the inbound track is going to be the teardrop sector. So this is 230 over here, this line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 big lines or 70 degrees. That is the whole teardrop sector. So your tail is basically on the teardrop sector here. So the entry pattern will be a teardrop entry pattern. Now since we want to hold, what we are going to do is, I'm going to push the OBS mode. Ideally you should do it about 3 miles out. And what we will also do is, we will get the timer ready. So we'll just have to push enter. So now what's the plan of action? This is a standard entry pattern. So once we are entering DESPA over here, so it's a teardrop entry, so 30 degrees to the left of the outbound heading. So what we'll do is, we'll fly heading 020 after reaching overhead the station, and we'll time it for 1 minute. After 1 minute, we are going to turn right to intercept the inbound course. That's a teardrop entry. Okay, we've got less than a mile to go, and we've got a more realistic speed of about 104 knots, and the DF42 will probably be doing about 120 knots. Okay, so just approaching overhead now, arriving at waypoint. Even the GPS is telling you. Okay, 0.2, 0.1. And you see the flag flips. Okay, that basically means that we've crossed overhead now. So remember the 5 T's: turn, time, twist, throttle, torque. So I will turn to heading 020, and once my wings are level, only then will I start timing for 1 minute. Okay, so wings are almost level. Okay, wings level on heading 020, start timing. Obviously you will have to be faster than this. Okay, whoops. Okay, there you go. Oh, okay, this didn't start the timing. Okay, now the timer has started. So turn, I've turned to heading 020, time, I've started the time, twist. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to set the course bar, basically the course bar, to my inbound course of 230. So I'll twist this. If you want to make it quick, you can just push it center and then adjust it so that set 230 over here. Okay, 32 seconds, another 30 seconds to go. Throttle, again, if you have to descend in the hold, but today we are not going to descend in the hold. We'll just maintain the 3000 feet. And yeah, come 1 minute, we will turn right. So basically, we entered the hold, we are flying heading 020 over here, and after 1 minute we'll turn right to intercept that inbound course of 230. You can see almost at 1 minute now, 58, 59, 1 minute, we will turn right. Obviously with this autopilot you have to be too careful. If you turn more than 180 degrees, it's going to start turning to the left. So we don't want to do that. And same goes for the airplane actually. So be a little bit careful while moving that heading bug. Okay, so again, turn, time. So what we'll do now here is stop the timer and reset it because don't need it. Okay, twist is not required, throttle not required, torque is not required. Oops, by the looks of it, we are going to undershoot this by a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll out here, and remember, you start timing wings level or needle center, whichever comes first. So wings level now, and I'll start timing. And once the needle gets a little bit closer, I'm going to turn right again back to 230 to intercept my inbound course. Okay, and again remember that we are going to reach our 1 minute first, but because we are still not at the fix yet, that's why we will continue on the inbound. Remember, when you cross the fix, the flag will flip from a to flag to a from flag. That's always the case except for a VOR DME hold. We'll talk about that later. Almost reaching overhead the station. Yeah. Now remember the 5 T's again: turn, time, twist, throttle, torque. So once we cross overhead, indicated by this flag, this is a to flag, big arrow, small arrow, same side. When this becomes a from flag, we will turn right, because this is a standard hold. To the right, we'll turn right to 050. So you see the flag just flipped now. So I will turn right. So turn to heading 050. Time, I'll reset the timer here. I'll start timing again once we are abeam the station. Okay, so turn, time, twist is not required. Basically, it's set on the inbound track. Remember, outbound and the hold is purely a heading function. It's nothing to do with the track. You do not try to intercept anything. You just fly the heading. And of course, you correct it for wind, but today we'll worry about the wind later. Okay, so wings level or to flags. Remember, we already have a to flag. That means we've crossed abeam the station. I'll immediately start timing. If there was still a from flag, basically big arrow is over here, small arrow is over here, that means it's a from indication. We would have waited until that from became a to. So it's either wings level or to indication, whichever comes last. That's when you start timing. We'll go outbound for 1 minute, and then after 1 minute we will turn right to inbound again. And once we turn inbound, I'll just fly some random heading, take the airplane out again, and then we'll come back to Despa and do another holding pattern, and hopefully it's not teardrop this time. Hopefully we can use another random example. So about 15 seconds to go. Remember, when it's 1 minute, again 5 T's, turn right to heading 230. Time, will reset the timer. Twist is not required. Throttle is not required since we don't want to descend in the hold. And torque again, depending on what the ATC asks you to. There we go. We have 1 minute now. .230, so turn. Time, so I'm going to reset the timer. Twist is not required, throttle not required, torque not required. And hopefully it intercepts it nicely this time instead of us having to re-intercept. But again, let's see. Looks better. Okay, now remember, once you roll wings level or needle center, whichever comes first, we will start timing. So this time round, it looks like both of them are more or less going to happen around the same time. So we'll just go for wings level now. Okay, wings level, start timing. Now, so once we reach overhead, again, how will you know overhead? Basically, this to flag will become a from flag, and I'll just fly a random heading of, let's say 290. We'll just fly a heading of 290 once we're overhead. Oops, sorry. My phone's running a little low on battery, so I just went to grab the charger. Okay, 0.2, so we're almost overhead, and I actually managed to. Okay. Okay, so now we will turn right to heading, say 290. Okay, 290 is good. Okay, let's see if this video pauses. My phone's charging, good, that's good. So now I'm just flying a heading. Tell you what, I'll just increase that speed just so that things happen a little bit faster, so that we're not wasting too much time on this video. Again, disregard the speed. In real life, you really don't want to go into the red arc, do you? There you go, now we're in the red range, but it's okay. Today it's all about learning the sector entry. I'm not too concerned about the speed here. And tell you what, now since we don't need this, I'll reset the timer, clear this off. Yeah. And if you want, you can even take it off the OBS mode. Who cares? We're just flying a heading. Just random heading 290. We're about 2.6 miles. Let's go to about 5 or 6 miles before we turn around and proceed to Despa. And now we will see what entry pattern would be appropriate. And let's turn to the left just to keep things, yeah, just random stuff. So again, remember, big line, one big line to the next big line is 10 degrees. So 70 degrees would be 7 big lines. Okay, approaching 6 miles. Tell you what, now again, I'll set direct to Despa. So direct to, you see Despa is already here. Right, earlier we saw how to enter it. Okay, so now let's turn to the left. Let's go direct to Despa. And once we finish the turn, I'm actually going to tell you what, might as well slow down now. And because I'm too lazy to re-intercept, let's just, yeah, once we get a little bit closer to our heading, I'm just going to push direct to enter and enter again. Again, we'll go direct to the station. About 3 miles out, you want to push the OBS button. Same goes for the airplane. Just so that, you know, as I said, there's no legal requirement to do it before 3 miles. I just prefer to have it done by 3 miles so that when you get closer, your workload is not too much and you don't actually forget to put it on the OBS mode. Okay. So now, we're heading to Despa on a heading of like 093 or something. I'll just put my heading back there. Okay. So, now, again, Despa, going back to the chart again, inbound course is, let me focus on that a little bit. Yeah, inbound course is 230, outbound is 050. So let's see, where is 230? Okay, so this is a standard hold, so 230 is here. So 70 degrees to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. that is the teardrop sector. 110 to the right, so 230, so they're basically 11 big lines because it's 110 degrees, each big line is 10 degrees. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So this is the teardrop sector. Tail of the course bar is on the on the parallel sector. Sorry, this is the parallel sector. This is the teardrop sector. 70 degrees to the left, 110 degrees to the right is the parallel sector. So now basically we are in the parallel sector. So we will be doing a parallel entry into the hold. So how would you do a parallel entry? So you're flying a heading of about 098. So in this chart you're looking at, probably you're coming in like this. So once we are overhead, we will turn left to heading 050, time it for 1 minute. After one, we will turn left again to intercept the inbound course of 230. So I'll just show you on this one how to do it. Okay, maybe the wind is pushing us out. I don't know if I put some wind in here, but either way it's okay. And if you take a look, we are about 2.9 nautical miles away from the fix, which is Despa in this case. I think I might have slowed it down a little bit too much. Let's speed it up just a wee bit. But again, let's keep a realistic speed. Keep it a little bit slow now so that you have a little bit more time to grasp what's going on. So basically, once we reach overhead, we will turn left to heading 050, start timing. So might as well get the timer ready now. So we'll start, once we are overhead, we'll turn left to 050, start timing for 1 minute. End of 1 minute, we will turn left again to intercept this inbound course. But remember, so once you turn left to 050, so turn, time will start the timing after wings level, twist, we'll set 230 on the inbound course here. Oops, okay, for some reason that went off OBS mode. Okay, let's put it on the OBS mode again. 0.7 miles now. And basically wait for the flag to flip. Anytime now, 0.3 nautical miles, 0.2. So you have the timer ready. It's all about single pilot resource management. So you've got the heading bug. So basically, first things first, always turn the airplane. Okay, so from flag we've crossed overhead, we'll turn left to heading 050. And yeah, if possible, try and make it a habit to brief the whole procedure for the entry before you reach the fix. That makes it a lot easier. So we'll turn left to 050. Once we have wings level, we'll start timing. And in that 1 minute, instead of sitting idle doing nothing, what we will do is we'll set the inbound course to 230. So that's the twist. Throttle torque, again, we are not going to worry about it because I don't really want to descend. Wings level, start timing now. Okay, there you go. So now we are timing. So turn, time, twist. Let's set the 230 on the course. Actually, what I should have done was just push this, and then make small adjustments. 233, 231, 230. There you go, all set. So come 1 minute, we will turn left to intercept this inbound course of 230. So basically what we did was, let's focus on here a little bit, came from here on a heading of 098, turned left. We are now maintaining heading 050 for 1 minute. After 1 minute, we will turn left again to intercept this inbound course of 230. And again, like I said earlier, in a hold, you only inbound course is the only thing you intercept. While you're outbound, it's purely a heading that you fly. Okay, 1 minute now. Let's turn left. Okay, so turn, time, so I'll reset the timer here. Twist, no need to twist, we've already done that part. Throttle, not required. Torque, not required, or well, depending on what the ATC said. And we are established on the inbound now. I'll start timing. So that is basically a parallel entry. So we are established on the inbound. Once we reach overhead, how will you know we are overhead again? Basically, this two flag, big arrow, small arrow, same side as the two indication. That two indication becomes a from indication. And that's when we start turning outbound to heading 050. Remember, just heading 050. Can't emphasize on that enough. You do not intercept anything on the outbound. '57, '58, '59. 1 minute. Whoops, no, we are still not overhead yet. I said, doesn't matter if it's 1 minute. Similarly, if it's less than 1 minute and you already have a flag switch, you would continue turning outbound. Remember that you always have to turn from inbound to outbound when you cross the fix. Doesn't matter if it's 1 minute or not. If it's less than 1 minute, so be it. If it's more than 1 minute, you keep waiting till you cross the fix. And we'll just fly one more hold just to recap quickly. So anytime now the flag flip should happen. Okay, the flag has switched. Flip. Now we will turn right. So turn, time, so I'm going to reset the timer. Twist, not required, because remember, once you set the inbound course, that's it. If you're holding, there's no need to do anything else. And throttle again, we're not descending, so no need for throttle. Torque, not required. Okay, you see we still have a from flag here, isn't it? Because big arrow and small arrow are on opposite sides, so we have a from flag. So wings level or two indication, whichever comes last. Basically, when this from flag becomes a two flag, that's when you're crossing a beam the station. Okay, there you go. It already became a two flag, but we are not wings level yet, so we'll wait for a little bit longer. There you go, wings level now, and we will start timing here. For 1 minute, come 1 minute, we'll turn right to heading 230 to intercept the inbound course of 230. And once we finish this hold, tell you what, we will proceed to the Foxtrot Juliet Victor VOR and do a hold over there. So let's see how we do that. Again, remember what I just taught you for figuring out the holding pattern entry. It's exact same thing, doesn't matter if you're doing a VOR hold or a VOR DME hold or a GPS hold. The way you do it is exactly the same. Almost coming up to 1 minute now. And 1 minute, we'll turn right to our inbound course. So turn, time, I'll reset the timer. Twist is not required again. And throttle and torque. Basically, once we cross over the fix again, remember, basically when this to flag becomes a from flag, we will proceed direct to the VOR. We'll basically home into the VOR. So what we will have to do is once we cross the fix, we will switch the CDI to the VOR. Just check that the VOR frequency is set. It's already auto-idented, so yep, no need to manually ident it again. And yeah, once we cross that, we'll change the CDI source, center the needle by pushing the course button, and yeah, just fly whatever heading is needed to proceed to Foxtrot Juliet Victor VOR. Just turn to the left a wee bit. About half a mile more to go before we turn inbound. Before we cross the fix, which is Despa, and Despa's over here. And yeah, after that we'll just home into the VOR. Just direct to the VOR. Okay, we've crossed the fix. Tell you what, CDI, let's center this. Oh, it's straight ahead. Okay, good, perfect. On this heading. Okay, so now we are proceeding to the VOR. Remember, it's a 2 indication, so you would read the radial from the bottom is 050. That's the radial we are on. Actually 049 to be precise. Okay, so now let's go directly to the VOR. While that does its thing, we're still about 10.2 miles. Remember, do not use the GPS distance anymore. We are navigating using the VOR. We'll just use this DME or the bearing distances. Remember, this is a DME. This is the distance from a DME radio. These, I understand, are GPS derived distances. Okay, so we are at Despa somewhere over here, proceeding direct to the VOR. There's a standard hold at the Fujairah VOR. Okay, and inbound track of 090. Outbound track of 270, standard hold. So let's take a look. So inbound track, it's a standard hold, inbound track of 090. So basically the hold is a right hand hold like that. So now again, standard hold, so 70 degrees to the left of the inbound track will be the teardrop sector, 110 degrees to the right will be the parallel sector. So the 090 is east, so 110 degrees to the right is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is the parallel sector, but our tail is not here, the needle is not here, right? So obviously it's not going to be a parallel entry. Let's see this. 70 degrees to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the teardrop sector. And you see the tail is in the teardrop sector. So obviously this is going to be a teardrop entry into the hold. Now, like I told you earlier, when you are even before you reach the fix. So now you've determined the holding pattern entry. We are going to do a teardrop entry. So looking at the chart, we're coming from here. Outbound is 270, standard hold. Okay, so basically once we are overhead, we want to turn to outbound heading 270 minus 30 degrees. So we'll turn to heading 240, time it for 1 minute like this, go something like that. End of 1 minute, we will turn right to intercept the inbound course of 090. So I've just spelled it up again. Again, please disregard the speed here. Obviously in real life I would never do this, but speed is something that I'm not very concerned about at this stage. It's the procedure I'm concerned about. Okay, so we've got about 5.2 miles. So we've determined already, we've got a timer ready, looks good. And we'll slow down when you're within 3 miles or 2 miles here, just so that we're not going crazy fast when we cross the fix. Again, same thing. When you cross the VOR, you'll enter the cone of confusion, isn't it? So yeah. Okay, now might be a good time to start slowing it down. Only it's been 35 minutes already. So in this case, we are flying a heading of 229. So for the teardrop entry, basically, where is it? this heading 270 minus 30, so 240. So in this case, what we'll have to do is we'll have to turn right to heading 240 and then start timing for 1 minute. We are pretty close to the station, so you don't start chasing the needle and overcorrect for it. You can just keep your wings level, and yeah, nothing drastic should happen. But again, best case scenario, it would be perfect if you could just keep that CDI centered. I didn't pay attention to that, so obviously it's gone off track, but that's okay, not the end of the world here. Okay, so we are just crossing overhead. That became a from flag. We'll start turning to 240. And once we go wings level, start timing. Okay, so turn is done to 240. Time, we've started timing already. Twist. Now let's twist. Set the inbound course again. So we'll set the inbound course of 090, which is heading east basically. Oh, come on. And after 1 minute, we'll turn right to intercept the inbound course of 090. Okay, 1 minute. Time to turn right. Please let me intercept it properly this time. If not, well, by the looks of it, we are probably going to undershoot the inbound. That's okay. Yep, for sure we are going to undershoot the inbound. So tell you what, I'm just going to put it here. Yep, I'm just going to maintain this heading. Turn, time, start timer, wings level or needle centers, whichever comes first. You see the needle is coming alive now. Wait for a little bit longer before we start turning to 090 to intercept our inbound course. So that is how you determine the hold. Oh, okay, that I waited for a little bit too long, isn't it? Look at that. Forgot about that, how sensitive it would be, but it's okay. Now once we cross over it, again, I'm not going to show you basically the same thing. Again, the flag is going to flip. Once we do that, tell you what, we will go to this point over here. So once we are basically in the hold now. Normally we would hold, but yeah, let's not waste time. We'll go to this point called Carrera, okay, which is a VOR DME hold, or you could hold using the GPS as well, but it's better that we hold on. That's for practice sake. Let's hold using the VOR and DME. So what we'll do is we'll proceed to Carrera. Tell you what, let me just intercept this. Carrera, as you can see, is on radial 135. So tell you what, let's intercept radial 135 first. I'll quickly turn to heading 135. Course bar goes to 135. Okay, and needless to the right, obviously, so I will turn to the right. And since we are pretty close, just a small cut is good enough already. No need for that timer. Okay, It's not coming alive. Let's use a slightly bigger intercept angle. Okay, needle is coming alive now. And as it comes closer, we'll slowly start turning to our heading. Okay, a little bit longer. And we are established on radial 135. We have a from indication, the big arrow and small arrow are on opposite sides. This is a from flag. And Carrere, if you take a look at this chart over here, is at 17.0 DME. So we are going in something like that. Inbound track of the hold at Carrere is 315 degrees. Outbound is 135. Remember, again, don't get confused between the inbound and outbound. This 22.0 DME is basically the limit of the outbound. You cannot continue outbound beyond 22.0 DME. Okay, inbound track is 315. So let's go. Okay, so now while we are going to Carrere, we are still at 5 miles. We've still got about 12 miles to go. So anyway, earlier the better. Let's start planning everything out. So we're going to Carrere, holding pattern entry. Inbound track is going to be 315. Basically, our tail is almost on 315 exactly, isn't it? So in this case, let's say again, which would be the parallel entry? Now remember, this is a, if you take a look, this is a non-standard hold. So in a non-standard hold, 70 degrees to the right of the inbound track, that is the teardrop sector, like I told you earlier. This one over here, inbound, so non-standard hold, 70 degrees to the right is the teardrop sector, 110 to the left is the parallel sector. Okay, so this is the inbound course of 315, so 70 degrees to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that is the teardrop sector, and 110 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oops, I can't remember. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That whole thing is the parallel sector. Now if you come take a look at this, we are exactly on the edge or the border, isn't it? So in this case, you can either choose to do a teardrop entry or a parallel entry. It's up to you. If it's within 5 degrees of either sector, of the boundary of the sectors, you can choose either or. So let's say we've done 2 teardrops. Tell you what, let's make this one a parallel entry. Okay, so once we reach 17 miles, again, disregard the speed. We're still like 6 miles out, 5.5 miles out. I'll slow down to a more realistic speed once we are closer to the station. Sorry, closer to the fix. This is not the station, is it? The station is the VOR. This one is the fix, which is radial 135. But then remember, the fix is not just radial 135. Radial 135, you could be here, you could be here. So basically, radial plus DME, that is going to give you this fix. Radial 135, 17.0 DME is the fix called Carrere. And it has a hold, a non-standard hold, inbound track of 315, outbound of 135. Okay, so we are within 3 miles. Tell you what, I'll just give it a little bit longer. So yeah, let's do the parallel entry. Now there's something I want to tell you about the VOR DME hold, is that there's not going to be a flag flip this time around. Okay, once you set the inbound course of 315, that 2 flag is going to remain. There's on turning outbound, turning inbound, the fix itself, because there's no station, it's only a fix, it's a DME fix, so the flag is not going to flip up and down on the VOR DME hold. For a VOR hold like we did overhead, yes, of course it's going to flip. GPS hold, because it made DESPA the fix. It just made Despa like a VOR station for the lack of a better word. But of course, it's not a VR station. Despa is Despa, it's just a random fix, okay? But this one, there's no station where the flag flip is going to happen. It's purely by VO. It's a VOR radial and a DME distance. Okay, so we are coming up to 17 miles, parallel entry. So basically, we'll continue to maintain heading 135 for 1 minute. I should actually have briefed the procedure. My bad here. Instead of talking shit, I should have just basically said, yeah. So Fujairah, we'll do a parallel entry. So 1 minute, end of 1 minute, we'll turn right to intercept this inbound course of 315. So now, we've started timing. So turn, not required. Time, we've started already. Twist. Let's again remember every hold. You want to set the inbound course. But I'll tell you what, this would be just easier if I just did this. There you go, course 315, easy peasy. But yeah. Okay, come 1 minute, we'll turn right. Basically, come 1 minute, we are basically going outbound now like that. Come 1 minute, we'll turn right, and then we'll intercept the inbound course of 315. So there we are. Holy shit, it's 46 minutes already. Okay, 1 minute, let's turn right. Again, be careful with that autopilot. If you actually go beyond the 180-degree mark, it'll start turning to the left. And we will, I'll just leave it here. Let's see how that works out, and then we'll say, oh, maybe a little bit more. 3, 4, 0. And again, turn, so we're turning, time, let's reset the timer, twist, inbound heading is set, we don't need to twist anything. Throttle, again, we are not descending, so leave the throttle. And torque, again, not required. One more thing with throttle is if you're, let's say you're cruising in a real life scenario, normally the ATC will ask you to hold maybe if there's congestion, or maybe the ATC is too busy, maybe the ATC is closed, like it happened to me the other day. They want a break. So yeah, holding pattern basically to allow better sequencing of traffic for the approach. That's the whole purpose. Now, okay, so we are established on the inbound now. And I will start timing. Yeah. Okay, so remember, throttle part again, you don't just need to adjust, you don't just have to adjust your throttle if you want to descend. You might also need to adjust your throttle if you are expecting a hold due to ATC situation where they've asked you to hold because there's too much traffic. Again, since you're holding, you might as well slow the aircraft down to a safe speed. Of course, I'm not asking you to slow down to 60 knots and stall the airplane, but you can slow down to a safe speed so that you need less power, you'll burn less fuel, and yeah, overall it's just a much better proposition. Okay, actually I made a mistake. I should have turned outbound at 17 miles. You see, this is basically, I was just too busy talking again. I did not turn. Remember, the flag flip does not happen, okay? So I should have, the moment it turned to 17, I should have started turning left. 135. Remember, on the outbound, you don't need to adjust this. You're just purely flying a heading. Now, when do we start timing? Earlier, I told you, you start timing either wings level or flag flip. Now, in this case, you already have a 2 flag, wings level, because this flag is not going to change. There's not going to, and throughout this hold, you will not see a flag flip because it's a DME hold. You are away from the station. So basically, we start timing wings level or at 17 DME, which is basically Fujairah, the distance for Fujairah. That's when we are going to start timing. 17 miles. Okay, I'm just falling behind there. Okay, start timing. And yeah, start timing for 1 minute, end of 1 minute. Actually, I'm just doing it 1 minute just for the sake of practice, but technically speaking, you could go all the way to 22 miles and still be safe, still be in the protected area. 22 miles, you would turn left and intercept the inbound course of 315. But just to make it quick, it's probably going to take forever and a day to get to 22 miles since we're flying only at 103 knots. So yeah, 1 minute, we'll turn left, intercept the inbound course of 315. And basically once we've intercepted inbound, that's when I'm going to end this video. I hope that you understood how to determine the holding pattern entry. This is something that works quite nicely for me. It has worked for a few people. Might not work also for some people, but give it a shot. Might make things easy for you. Oh, we didn't do any examples of a direct entry, but yeah, we'll discuss that on the ground some other day. But yeah, basically whatever is not on the parallel sector or the teardrop sector is the direct entry. So basically direct entry, let's say you're coming from here somewhere, so it's going to be a direct entry. Once you reach the fix, you basically turn right and to the outbound heading. Okay, so there you go. Wings level, tell you what, turn, time, reset. And wings level, start timing. So basically, you want to turn outbound or go elsewhere as instructed by ATC once you reach Carrere. How do we know we are Carrere? The flag flip is not going to happen at Carrere. We know Carrere is on radial 135. Yep, we are on radial 135. Well, not really. I should actually intercept this. Okay, we are on radial 135 and 17 DME. Remember, fixes are going to be a radial distance plus, a radial plus a DME distance. So 17.3, 17.2, 17.1, 17.0. So now we are at Carrere. I will start turning left again. This is another assumption that we are still holding. I'll start turning left to heading 135. Oops, okay, probably 135. And yeah, that's going to be my outbound. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day.